13 creatine mistakes you should never make. What if the reason creatine isn't working for you has nothing to do with the supplement itself? Every year, millions of people start taking creatine, expecting bigger muscles, more strength, and better workouts. But many end up disappointed, frustrated, or convinced that creatine simply doesn't work. The truth? Most people are making simple mistakes that quietly sabotage their results. Today, we're covering 13 creatine mistakes you should never make. Some of these mistakes can slow your progress, some can cause unnecessary side effects, and a few might completely prevent you from seeing any benefits at all. And trust me, mistake number 11 is one that almost everyone makes. But before we begin, drop your name and the city you're watching from in the comments below. Alright, let's get started. Number 1. Expecting instant results. Have you ever taken creatine for a week, looked in the mirror, and thought, is this stuff even doing anything? If so, you're not alone. In fact, that's one of the biggest mistakes people make when they first start using creatine. The problem is that many people expect instant results. They assume creatine works like caffeine, a quick boost of energy that you can feel almost immediately. But creatine doesn't work that way. Instead, it works quietly behind the scenes. As you take it consistently, your muscles gradually build up and store more creatine over time. This process, known as saturation, doesn't happen overnight. It takes patience. That's why the benefits often show up slowly. Maybe your workouts feel a little stronger. Maybe recovery gets a bit easier. Maybe you squeeze out an extra rep or two during training. At first, the changes can be so subtle that they're easy to miss, but over weeks and months, those small improvements begin to add up. Better workouts lead to better progress, and better progress leads to better long-term results. The people who get the most from creatine are usually not the ones looking for overnight transformations. They're the ones who stay consistent, trust the process, and give their body enough time to respond. Because when it comes to creatine, patience isn't just important, it's part of how the supplement works. Number 2. Skipping days randomly. Here's a mistake that quietly ruins results, and many people don't even realize they're making it. Some people take creatine on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, forget it on Thursday, remember it again on Saturday, then skip the next few days entirely. A week later, they wonder why they're not seeing much progress. The truth is, creatine isn't a supplement that works best when taken occasionally. It works best when it becomes part of your daily routine. Think of it like filling a reservoir. Your muscles gradually build up their creatine stores over time, but that process depends on consistency. Taking a large amount once in a while doesn't make up for regularly missing doses. In fact, a small daily serving is usually far more effective than taking huge amounts only when you happen to remember. That's why many experienced users keep things simple. They take their creatine every day, whether it's a workout day or a rest day, and let consistency do the work. It may not sound exciting, but this is where real results come from. Not from perfect timing, complicated schedules, or giant doses, just steady daily habits. Because when it comes to creatine, consistency almost always beats intensity. Number 3. Not drinking enough water. Did you know dehydration is one of the most common reasons people have a bad experience with creatine? Surprisingly, many of the side effects people blame on the supplement may have more to do with hydration than creatine itself. Here's why. Creatine helps pull water into your muscle cells, which is one of the ways it supports muscle performance, recovery, and strength. But when your muscles are holding more water, your body may need more fluids to keep everything functioning properly. The problem is that many people start taking creatine without changing their hydration habits at all. They continue drinking the same amount of water they always have, even though their body's needs may have increased. A few days or weeks later, they begin feeling tired, sluggish, or mentally foggy. Some develop headaches, dry mouth, or muscle cramps. Naturally, they assume creatine is causing the problem. But in many cases, the real issue is inadequate fluid intake. That's why hydration is one of the most important and most overlooked parts of using creatine successfully. Something as simple as drinking enough water consistently throughout the day can make a huge difference in how you feel. Honestly, many people discover that once they improve their hydration habits, creatine becomes much easier to tolerate and much more effective. Sometimes the supplement isn't the problem at all. The body is simply asking for more water. Number 4. Taking massive doses. Have you ever caught yourself thinking, if a little works, then more must work even better? It sounds logical, but when it comes to creatine, that mindset can actually backfire. A lot of people get excited about seeing results and decide to take much larger doses than necessary. They assume bigger scoops will lead to bigger muscles, faster strength gains, and quicker progress. Unfortunately, the body doesn't always cooperate with that plan. Instead of getting faster results, some people end up dealing with bloating, stomach discomfort, cramping, nausea, or other digestive issues. Then they start wondering if creatine is the problem. But often, the real issue isn't the supplement itself, it's simply taking too much at once. The truth is that creatine works through consistency, not excess. Your muscles gradually build up their creatine stores over time. Trying to force the process by taking huge amounts rarely provides extra benefits and may just make you feel uncomfortable. That's why many experienced users keep things simple. Rather than chasing shortcuts, they stick with a moderate daily dose and let consistency do the heavy lifting. Honestly, this is one of the biggest lessons people learn with supplements. More isn't always better. Sometimes the smartest approach is also the simplest one. When it comes to creatine, patience and consistency usually produce far better results than trying to overload your body in hopes of speeding things up. Number 5. Ignoring exercise completely. This one sounds obvious, but it happens far more often than you might think. Some people start taking creatine, wait a few weeks, and then wonder why they're not seeing much of a difference. The surprising part? They haven't changed their activity level at all. Here's the reality. Creatine is a support tool, not a substitute for movement. It helps your muscles perform better, recover more efficiently, and handle physical effort more effectively. But if there's very little physical activity for it to support, the results will naturally be limited. Think of it like putting premium fuel in a car that never leaves the garage. The fuel may be great, but the car still has to be driven. That's why creatine tends to work best when paired with regular exercise, whether that's strength training, walking, cycling, swimming, or any form of consistent movement. The more your muscles are challenged, the more opportunity creatine has to do its job. The people who see the best results usually aren't relying on the supplement alone. They're combining it with healthy habits and staying active on a regular basis. Because at the end of the day, creatine can support movement, but it can't replace it. The supplement helps, but your body still needs a reason to use that extra support. Number 6. Not eating enough protein. Here's something many people completely overlook when they start taking creatine. Creatine can help you train harder, recover better, and get more out of your workouts, but it doesn't actually provide the raw materials your muscles need to grow. That job belongs to protein. Think of it this way. Creatine helps the workers do their job more efficiently, but protein supplies the bricks needed to build the house. Without enough building materials, progress becomes much slower, no matter how hard the workers try. That's why protein intake matters so much. Every workout creates a demand for muscle repair and recovery, and protein provides the amino acids your body uses to rebuild and strengthen muscle tissue. If you're taking creatine but not getting enough protein, you're making muscle growth much harder than it needs to be. You may still see some benefits, but you won't be giving your body everything it needs to maximize results. The best approach is to think of creatine and protein as teammates, not competitors. Creatine helps improve performance, while protein helps support recovery and growth. When both are in place, along with consistent training, the results tend to be much better than relying on either one alone. Number 7. Buying into social media hype. Let's be honest for a moment. Social media has completely changed the way people think about supplements. Every day, we see dramatic before and after photos, unbelievable transformation videos, and claims that make it seem like a single supplement changed someone's entire life. So it's easy to look at those results and assume creatine deserves all the credit. But the reality is usually much less dramatic and much more encouraging. Most impressive transformations aren't built by creatine alone. They're built through months or even years of consistent training, balanced nutrition, quality sleep, and healthy habits repeated day after day. Creatine may help support that process, but it's rarely the main reason for the results. Think of creatine as a helpful assistant, not the star of the show. It can help you perform a little better, recover a little faster, and get more out of your workouts. But the real progress comes from showing up consistently and doing the work. The people who achieve the best long-term results usually aren't relying on a miracle supplement. They're focusing on the fundamentals: training regularly, eating enough protein, staying hydrated, managing stress, and getting adequate sleep. Because at the end of the day, those habits are doing most of the heavy lifting. Creatine can support the journey, but consistency is what truly drives the transformation. Number 8. Quitting too soon. How many people give up on creatine before it ever has a real chance to work? Probably more than you think. A lot of people start taking creatine with high expectations. They imagine dramatic muscle growth, huge strength gains, and noticeable changes within a week or two. Then, when those transformations don't happen immediately, they assume the supplement isn't working. So after 2 or 3 weeks, they quit. The ironic part is that many of them stop right before the benefits would have started becoming noticeable. Creatine isn't designed to deliver instant results. It works gradually as your muscles build up and maintain higher creatine stores over time. The improvements are often subtle at first: slightly better workouts, a little more endurance, improved recovery, or an extra rep here and there. But those small improvements can add up significantly when you stay consistent. The people who get the best results from creatine usually aren't the ones looking for overnight transformations. They're the ones who stick with it long enough to let the process work. Because when it comes to creatine, patience is often the difference between saying it didn't work and finally experiencing the benefits you were hoping for all along. Number 9. Taking creatine, but ignoring sleep. Want to know one of the most overlooked mistakes when it comes to fitness and supplements? Poor sleep. It's not as exciting as a new supplement or a fancy workout program, which is probably why so many people ignore it. But the truth is, sleep is one of the biggest factors affecting your recovery, strength, energy, and overall results. You can take creatine every single day, follow the perfect supplement routine, and never miss a dose. But if you're constantly running on too little sleep, your body simply won't perform at its best. During sleep, your body does much of its repair and recovery work. Muscles recover, energy stores are restored, and your body prepares for the next day's physical and mental demands. When sleep is consistently cut short, that recovery process suffers. As a result, workouts may feel harder, recovery may take longer, and progress can slow down, even if you're doing everything else right. That's why supplements should never be viewed as a replacement for good sleep. Creatine can support your efforts, but it can't compensate for chronic sleep deprivation. In fact, some of the people getting the best results aren't necessarily taking more supplements. They're simply giving their body the rest it needs to recover and grow. Because when it comes to long-term progress, sleep isn't just important, it's foundational. Number 10. Comparing your results to other people. Here's a frustrating truth that many people don't hear often enough. Not everyone responds to creatine in exactly the same way. Some people start noticing improvements relatively quickly. Their workouts feel stronger, recovery gets easier, and they see noticeable changes within a few weeks. Others experience benefits too, but they tend to be more gradual and much harder to spot at first. And honestly, that's completely normal. The mistake many people make is comparing their progress to someone else's results online. They see dramatic transformation photos or hear stories about massive strength gains and start wondering why their own experience looks different. But every body responds differently. Factors like genetics, training style, diet, muscle mass, and overall activity level can all influence the results you notice. That's why comparing your progress to someone else's often creates unnecessary frustration and disappointment. Instead of asking, why am I not getting their results? Try asking, am I improving compared to where I started? Because at the end of the day, the only comparison that truly matters is the one between your current self and your past self. And sometimes the most meaningful progress happens so gradually that you don't notice it until you look back and realize how far you've come. Number 11. Focusing only on muscle growth. This is the mistake almost everyone makes when they think about creatine. Most people immediately associate it with bigger muscles and a more impressive physique. And while creatine can certainly support muscle growth, that's only part of the story. Some of its most valuable benefits have nothing to do with how you look in the mirror. We're talking about improved strength, better recovery, enhanced workout performance, and helping maintain muscle as you get older. Those benefits can make everyday life easier, workouts more productive, and long-term health easier to maintain. The problem is that when people focus only on appearance, they often miss the bigger picture. Creatine isn't just about building bigger muscles, it's about helping your body perform better, recover more effectively, and stay stronger over time. And honestly, those benefits may end up being far more valuable than a few extra inches on your arms. Number 12. Ignoring existing health conditions. Before adding any supplement to your routine, it's important to take a step back and look at the bigger picture, your overall health. While creatine is widely used and generally well tolerated by many healthy adults, it isn't a one-size-fits-all solution. People with certain medical conditions, those taking specific medications, or anyone with concerns about their health should talk with a healthcare professional before getting started. That might not sound exciting, but it's one of the smartest steps you can take. The reality is that your personal health situation matters far more than advice from a random social media post, fitness influencer, or internet comment section. What works well for one person may not be the best choice for someone else. That's why informed decisions are always better than following generic advice. A supplement should fit your health needs, not the other way around. At the end of the day, the goal isn't just to take supplements. The goal is to make choices that support your long-term health, safety, and well-being. And that starts with understanding your own body first. Number 13. Forgetting that creatine is just a tool. And finally, let's talk about the biggest mistake of all, treating creatine like a miracle solution. There's no doubt that creatine can be a valuable tool. It may help support strength, exercise performance, recovery, and muscle health. But at the end of the day, it's still just a tool, not a shortcut. Creatine can't replace regular exercise. It can't make up for poor nutrition, it can't compensate for chronic lack of sleep, and it certainly can't replace consistency. The truth is that the best results rarely come from a supplement alone. They come from showing up day after day, making healthy choices, and sticking with good habits long enough to see progress. That's why the people who get the most out of creatine usually don't treat it like magic. They see it as one small piece of a much larger puzzle. And when exercise, nutrition, sleep, hydration, and consistency all work together, that's when real, lasting results begin to happen. So, which of these 13 creatine mistakes surprised you the most? Was it not drinking enough water, taking too much, quitting too early, or maybe focusing too much on supplements and not enough on the basics? The good news is that every mistake on this list is fixable. A little consistency, realistic expectations, and a solid routine can make a huge difference in your results. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever made any of these creatine mistakes? And if you're currently taking creatine, what's been your experience so far? Let me know in the comments below. And if you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more honest health and fitness content without the hype. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.